Chapter 3, Lesson 7, Quadratic Inequalities. So we're going to be graphing quadratic inequalities today, which remember the difference between an equation and an inequality is the symbol. So inequalities are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. We're going to do the steps the same as we did when we graphed regular equalities. So we're going to first find the axis of symmetry. Then we're going to find this vertex. So remember, the vertex lies on the axis of symmetry. So first we're going to find the axis of symmetry. We're going to sub it into the equation to get the y-coordinate. The y-intercept is going to be 0, c. We're going to either factor, complete the square, or quadratic formula to find the x-intercepts. And then the new part for these inequalities, remember, we're going to use a dashed line for our less than or greater thans, and a solid line for the ones that are equal to. Then we're either going to shade inside of our parabola or outside of the parabola by checking a point in our equation and seeing if it's true, then either including that point, or if it's not true, then we're not going to include the point. Also, we're going to be solving quadratic inequalities algebraically. So we're going to solve each quadratic, remember, by either factoring, quadratic formula, or complete the square. We're going to plot our solutions on a number line, test a value from each interval to see if it satisfies that original inequality, and then finally write our answer in interval notation. This first example wants us to graph this quadratic inequality. I'm going to start with my axis of symmetry. In this case, A is 1, B is -4, C is -12. And I'm doing the opposite of B, so +4 over 2 times A, which gives me 2 for my axis of symmetry. So I know this parabola is folding itself over the vertical line of x equals 2. Then, in order to find the vertex, I know that it has to lie on the line where x is 2. And then I'll use substitution. So 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 12 gives me -16. Should have counted by 2's on this graph. Hold on. Okay, so there's my x equals 2. And then -2, -4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. There's my vertex. Then I need to either factor, complete the square, or quadratic formula for my x-intercepts. I'm going to factor. Factors of 12 that subtract to be 4 are 6 and 2. Sign chart says the bigger one gets a negative. Solving them gives me x at -2, 0, and x at +6, 0. Then I need my y-intercept, which is always 0, the c term. So that is at 0, -12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'll mirror that point over my axis of symmetry. And then I'm going to connect these with a dashed line because it's just a greater than. And then the last thing I have to figure out is I'm going to shade inside my parabola or outside of my parabola. So I'm going to pick a point inside my parabola, like 2, 2. And I'm going to see if that satisfies the equation. And if it does, I'll know that 2, 2 is included in my shaded area. And if it does not, then I will shade outside of my parabola. So if I let x be 2 and y be 2, I'll have the equation 2 is greater than 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 12. And so the question, is 2 greater than negative 16? And yes, it is. So I want to include 2 in my shaded area, which means I need to shade on the inside of the parabola. That way it's included. Number 2, I'll start with A is 1, B is 7, C is 10. My line of symmetry is opposite of B over 2 times A, which gives me negative 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. I'll substitute negative 3.5 into my equation to figure out what my y-coordinate of the vertex is. So negative 3.5 squared plus 7 times negative 3.5 plus 10, negative 2.25. I see I did not graph that in the right spot. Negative 3.5 is here, and negative 2.25. Why did everything scoot over? Why did it move over again? Well, I don't know what's going on with my graph, why the line keeps jumping over as I'm writing, so we're just gonna, I don't know, what is going on? Okay, let's see if I can get this fixed. I'm going to factor again for my x-intercepts. Factors of 10 that add to 7 are 5 and 2. Sign chart says they're both plus. So my x-intercepts are at negative 2, 0 and negative 5, 0. It is going to be a solid line. Let's see if I can get this to graph without scooting up. It keeps wanting to scoot up. Negative 2, 0, negative 5, 0. It keeps wanting to scoot. We're going to have to, I don't know what to do here. Let me see. Refresh the page. Okay, let's try one more time. And then we'll pick a point inside that. So let's go with negative 3, 0. So if y is 0 and x is negative 3, that gives me negative 3 squared plus 7 times negative 3 plus 10 is negative 2. Is 0 less than or equal to negative 2? No. So I do not want to include that point in my shading. So I'll shade everything on the outside of the parabola, all of this area. Next, we're going to be solving these algebraically and then plotting them on a number line. So first I want to set this equation equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 2 to both sides. Then I need to solve this by either factoring, quadratic formula, complete the square. I'll choose factoring. Sign chart says the bigger one gets a plus. And then those are less than or equal to 0. Oh my goodness. What did I do wrong now? Well, now I can't click the what. So then I have x is less than or equal to positive 1, x is less than or equal to negative 2. So I put those on a number line. And I need to check values in between here to make sure what is going on with my arrows. So I'll check 0 in the original equation. Is 0 squared plus 0 less than or equal to 2? Yes. So I know for sure that everything is going to be included here. I'll check a number on this side, like 3. Is 3 squared plus 3 less than or equal to 2? No. And then I'll check one number over here, like negative 4. Is negative 4 squared plus negative 4 less than or equal to 2? And that's 12, so no. So I know that my number line, all of my answers are anything in between negative 2 and 1. Here I'm going to do this one by complete the square. So I'm going to take half of the middle term, square it, and add it to the c term, which gives me x plus 4 squared is greater than 1. So x plus 4 is greater than plus or minus 1. So x plus 4 is greater than 1, and x plus 4 is greater than negative 1. X is greater than negative 3. X is greater than negative 5. For my points, I'll check 0 for this side in the original equation. Is 0 squared plus 8 times 0 greater than negative 15? Yes. Then I'll check negative 4. Is negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 greater than negative 15? No, I don't think. 4 squared minus 32. Nope. And I'll check negative 6. Is negative 6 squared plus 8 times negative 6 greater than negative 15? No. So in this case, it is only everything negative 3 and greater. So I forgot I was supposed to do interval notation. So my interval notation right here is negative 2 to positive 1 with brackets. And this one was negative 3 to positive infinity with parentheses.